Mike, challenging time right now for buyers in a hot seller's market and even doing inspections as a contingency. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. So this is a tough market. It has been this way for a little while. What we're seeing some people do something which we don't advise, waiving their home inspection to strengthen their offer and to entice a seller into accepting their offer because they don't have to worry about that secondary negotiation when the offer is accepted and then the buyer brings their home inspector in, and then the buyer a lot of times is going to want to ask for repairs or money to be conceded based on conditions that they find. So it's a tough market. But what you really have to consider is what the home inspection really is for. I hear people tell me that, we're not going to bother doing a home inspection because this guy's got our offer. He's got X number of backup offers where people have already waived their inspection. So they're not really going to negotiate anything with us. So why bother doing the home inspection? Which kind of, but what the home inspection is for is, it's not for negotiation. It's so that when you buy a house, you know what you're buying. So I understand why people over the years, when the market was a stronger buyer's market, the inspection was used much more as a tool to try to negotiate that seller down because there were a lot more sellers than buyers. So when the market is slanted towards the buyer, it's easier to negotiate and get that seller to make concessions. But right now it's hard, which is fine. But the inspection is not for the buyer to negotiate prices or repairs. The inspection is for the buyer's information. The buyer made an offer to buy this house. They want it. The seller accepted that offer because they want to sell it for that amount of money. And the buyer just wants to make sure they're actually getting what they think they're getting. And that really is it. It does turn into negotiations at times, but it doesn't have to. So when I talk to buyers that are going through this issue, some of them are represented by real estate agents, and some of them, are not, and they don't really know how the process works. As I tell them, you still really should do your inspection, but just be prepared that a lot of the sellers with multiple offers on the table are not inclined to accept your secondary negotiation. So it might be a situation where you do your inspection and maybe you find some things wrong with the house that you didn't expect or didn't know about, but it's still kind of a take it or leave it thing where you're like, okay, well, we inspected the house. We did find a few more things wrong with it than we thought that there might be. You can ask the seller, but they're just not inclined to negotiate because they probably have a stack of offers sitting in front of them, and they just chose one, maybe even at random. So what I tell my buyers is do the inspection, and then just know that, if you find too much stuff wrong with the house, it still may not be the house for you, even though that person may have a backup offer on that house for the same price. But you don't know the situation that the other buyer has. For example, let's say the boiler shot doesn't work or not going to last very long. And you're buying this house, you're paying more than asking, so you're financially, right up to your limit on this house. Do you have money to buy a boiler this year? If you don't, then you don't have money to maintain this house. The other guy that made that offer maybe has extra money. Heck, maybe he's a plumber and he can do it for just the price of the materials, and it's fine for him, but it still may not be fine for you. So you want to just make sure that you can maintain this house that you're buying, even though they're not going to negotiate with you.